Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. Back again. So I guess in at least the US, this is a 3-day weekend, so who knows what's going to happen because of that, viewer-wise, I mean. So anyhow, welcome back, and I seem to be enjoying one of those Windows Update kind of conflicts or anomalies that you get when your computer automatically forces a Windows 10 update. There's a strange thing that Windows started doing, which I think I complained about before, called like ink space or something, which was part of their ridiculous when they're trying to make everything a touchscreen, when they're trying to do that Windows 8, all the tile-based stuff, which still kind of exists. Yeah, so there's pen and ink settings, and they've got, I forget what they called it. Yeah, they're ink workspace, Windows Ink. And that hates, or at least is not playing well with the Wacom tablet drivers. So I get really strange, varied levels of sensitivity and things depending on which driver's winning and when was the last time I restarted and when was the last time I was updated. And you can see the update makes things a little weird, so the sensitivity is all messed up. And I tried to recalibrate it, but it doesn't have much of an effect. So another one of those things I've got to spend a day researching and figuring out what they did and what the fix is, and if they're going to give us a fix or if Wacom's going to give us a fix. And yeah, it's just great. I love that these companies, just because they, their greedy licensing practices and everything, just get in the way of people doing work. You buy a tool. That'd be great if you bought a hammer, and sometimes it was a softer hammer, sometimes it was a smaller hammer, sometimes it was a bigger hammer, just depending on if the handle license or the metal license had not worked out well. That's what we're dealing with. So that's great. And why I'm not using ink and paper, I have no idea. I've had brushes dry out or run out of ink or whatever, but I seem to get a similar result if I use the same brush every week. There's not a lot of variation, and with digital tools, you got to spend so much time troubleshooting. It's just ridiculous. All right, but I'll draw a little bit of this, see if I can actually pull this off. I just found, kind of straightening up my workspace, I found a set of mystery keys, those keys for either no longer existing doors or buildings, or places that you rented that you still had, or jobs that you had keys for that you didn't turn something in. So I found the mystery keys, and some of them I think I kind of remember, but most of them I have no idea where they came from. And yeah, that's quite a weird and depressing thing, to just find old keys, things that you used to need so dearly and probably carried with you every single day, and then at some point they just become useless. They just become obsolete. They become meaningless in your life. Whereas if you forgot them previously, that was a bad day you were about to have. So I think I'll draw some keys. I don't know if I can actually put faces on keys, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And the style of keys has changed so much. And I'm also talking about Japanese keys as well, so they also have a different look. And there's a style of key here which is very strange. The newer locks have a key that you just kind of insert. And the keys themselves, actually, I think I have one. I have one right here. I'm not sure these exist in the in the US as much, but this is the only place that I've seen them. But here we go. So as you see, the key doesn't have teeth. It hasn't been cut or keyed. It actually is keyed with these little divots. They drill these little sequence of large and small holes on either side. So you basically just insert it and turn it, and the mechanism is a completely different mechanism. Maybe harder to pick. I don't know. Maybe, you know, it can't be tampered with by hand as much, but have some of those strange future keys that are already useless to me. But it would seem like, though, that kind of pattern would be much easier to photograph and just pass somebody, you know, the keys, you know, pattern on a cell phone picture. So even though maybe it's harder to deal with older tools, I'm sure there are newer tools that can duplicate that key much more easily. But it still, you know, I guess would involve drilling a key instead of grinding it. All right. Yeah, I don't think I want to do too much detail because I've got to get eyes on here somehow. I don't know. Keys, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work very well, but it was on my mind, so I thought I would give it a try. Yeah, it's funny. There's a few types of keys, like that standard, you know, and this is kind of what I was going for here. The standard, you know, American house key, the one that you can get, you know, duplicated a million times, is super familiar. And then the old, you know, GMC square and round keys. Yeah, because there was an ignition key and a door key once upon a time. So the round key you put into the door lock and the square key you put into the ignition. So you had two keys for your car. I'm sure there's nobody alive that remembers that. Yeah, that was a thing. Trying to think of, I guess I'll just kind of do some familiar improvised shapes. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, that's so it's a really sad thing because, you know, something goes from the most important thing in your life to meaningless, and that feels so strange. It's even worse when it's human relationships that do that. But I guess that's, you know, that's why people stay in bad relationships and bad marriages and things, because of their lack of imagination. They can't imagine living without that person. And slowly realize that their life is so much easier without. Okay, so I think I want to connect these, though. Put them on a ring or something. So probably just fill them so I can put them behind each other. Keys, keys, keys. Yeah, and the tease for the convenience store part. I think I teased that on the tweet, but the company that used to make Oreos and Ritz in Japan does not do that any longer. And yeah, it's a pretty funny story. I was surprised, and it's interesting now what the company's trying to do. So yeah, I've got a funny example of that. But yeah, but there's a lot of things like that, and I guess I'll ramble more about that in the convenience store section. But there's a lot of that stuff in Japan where Japan has a version of something that no longer exists in the U.S. So Japan is becoming this weird corporate graveyard for a lot of failed American experiments. All right, let's see. Am I doing this? Actually, I would be doing this on the top layer. There we go. Yeah, maybe just a ring. Oh yeah, the lovely key ring that you have to, that it's like almost like the part of a spring, and you have to spread the break in the keys. You have to bend the break in the keys apart to make them work. Yeah, I'll just do it like this so I don't have to. Yeah, something like that. I would never make it back around, but and then maybe some. Yeah, what's the most common thing? I remember those things that look like old motel. Oops, the old motel things, but those had a lot of cheesy stuff. Let's see. Ooh, I can fog up my own glasses. It's so cold today. Yeah, maybe more round than that. Trying to give it a little bit of perspective. Let's see. This might be something I should just pull with the distort. Yeah, maybe that works. All right. Yeah, still, I want this a little more around. Yeah, I think I've only done a lost keys. I remember losing a key, dropping a key somewhere in a parking garage, and yeah, that's an interesting difference too. That's a huge difference that changes kind of how you function. Is in Japan, if you drop something or leave something behind, it's almost always there. Like in an eerily efficient way, you can go back and get it, and people hold on to it, and it gets reported or just delivered to an office or whatever. And that's amazingly reliable. So anything you dropped, if you can figure out where you dropped it, you get it back. Okay, this style is a little bit more ornate than I usually do, but oh well. Yeah, that's amazing. The if you drop a glove or a scarf or whatever, it's not gone. You can easily go back and get it. Especially if you drop it near in a train station, or leave it on a train or a bus or taxi or whatever. It's easy to get back. And often you see people that have dropped something on the street or the sidewalk. People will just put it up on the the railing or the fence or whatever's nearby. You'll see a little glove or a little kid's toy or something just sitting up somewhere because they don't want it to get stepped on or washed away or whatever. So you see that quite often, these little lost items perched in places. People drop their little hand towels and stuff a lot too. So you see that, and it's always there. And I remember like putting my jacket down, or my winter coat, because I was tired of watching it or wearing it over my Halloween costume, and it wasn't actually that cold. I put it down for a second and it was gone. So it's a very, very different mentality. Okay, that drawing is a little odd, but it gets the sad point across. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, that's the thing. See, that the line, because I can't. The sensitivity isn't so much. I don't want to make the line so thick that it's just overpowering. But because of that sensitivity, it's like changing my the quality of the cartoon. But I guess I did that, especially when I was drawing in Sharpie. That was the thing. When I get a new Sharpie, I'd almost want to just pound it a couple of times on the table to blunt that dull end, or just kind of scribble a little bit, because Sharpies come with that felt tip is a pretty sharp felt tip, so it makes a very fine line, and you don't get a lot of variation from that. So you kind of want to have to, that first shape that it comes in, you kind of want to bend it or wear it to deform it, so you can get a nicer variation of line. That point, that pencil point kind of angle that they give it, isn't so good. It should be like a little bit more of a chisel, or have a little bit more of an angle, so you can work with it a little bit better. But that's remember doing that. But as the Sharpies then wear out, because that felt tip does actually wear, the line gets broader and broader, and you get less variation in it. So yeah, that's why I switched over to digital for just kind of speed, avoid the scanning step. And I'm not creating any original art, but I'm avoiding the step of scanning. So I don't have an original ink drawing on a piece of paper, but I produce things so much faster. That's why I can make the cartoons, basically in an hour and a half every week. So while I have a little bit of conversation, I can produce the cartoons. So it makes a big difference in kind of the production scale, which the big motivation for me doing that was to try to get back to daily cartoons, which someday, yeah, I hope that that becomes a thing, because I really think that the style and the writing and everything get much more solidified when I'm producing it that much more. But we will see. All right, so what are we doing here? So now I'm not thinking about keys anymore, so we'll see. We'll see what I come up with. But I don't even remember what I was going on about. Yeah, so we are now moving towards the most beautiful and most terrible time in Japan. It starts around Valentine's Day, but really doesn't, I think, really get going until March is beautiful cherry blossom season, the sakura season, and allergy season. So I'd never had allergies before when I was a kid, especially like pollen allergies. And after coming to Japan for a couple of years, I was like, oh, I love spring. It's my favorite time, And then one year in March, I had this crazy high fever, had the shakes. I mean, I thought I was getting the flu. I was so sick. And there were no other symptoms other than, just kind of headache and congestion and fever. There's nothing else. And it turned out it was just like my first big allergic reaction to the yellow cedar. I guess they replanted, because there was so much wooded area that was destroyed from bombing, the bombings and horrible things, because it just and also I guess any kind of natural disaster usually creates gas fires, which burn cities, which then can spread, around. So any place that was bombed, any place that was, I guess they assumed was producing anything during the war, they bombed, and so they burnt a lot of forested area. And so when they replanted after the war, they planted this yellow cedar, which I guess is hinoki. I'm not sure if that's the same, but it's but I've just heard the yellow cedar pollen is the vicious one, and but both, I think, rice and other things have a season. There's a pollen season for rice as well. But I was just completely knocked out by that. So yeah, every year, Valentine's Day means the start of allergy season, which is so bizarre. So now, so I think visitors, unless you are a very allergic person, I think visitors to Japan don't really notice that or have to deal with it. But yeah, nothing's more wonderful than a late in life allergy, pollen allergy. So yeah, if I forget to start doing medicine, it's just I get these blazing headaches, and that's just, it's just crazy. I've never felt anything like that before. It's one of those things of, what is this? What's happening to me? Crazy. But actually, I can leave some of these empty, huh? Oops. Yeah, so that's a thing to be aware of if you're going to spend more than a tourist amount of time in Japan, that might catch up to you. Okay, what is not happening here? Okay. But let's see. I'm just winging this, obviously. let's see if I can make this make more sense. Yeah, so it's a funny season. And also March here. Oh, what a mess. March here is a very funny time because you basically get, 3 days of winter, 3 days of spring, 3 days of winter, 3 days of spring for quite a while, for almost the entire month. And yeah, it becomes really hard to, even know how to leave the house because things are so unpredictable. I guess if you can count to 3, they're really unpredictable. But no, it's just like every few days there's like a severe weather change, and you get stuck either freezing or sweating depending on what you decided to leave the house in. So layers are advised. And I think the cherry blossom season is just getting crazier and crazier here anyhow as far as tourists. Just tourists everywhere. And I don't know if that's a Kansai thing. I think it is. I mean, Tokyo's been dealing with actually foreign residents for a lot longer. But the tourists here are just getting bananas now. So, and I don't know why that's such a desirable thing to be a tourist destination. It's just weird. It's very weird that Japan, and specifically like Kansai, is adopting that so easily, because just nothing but abuse, and it's just horrible. Just jobs that used to be pretty easy, low pay but easy work, like all the retail and coffee shops and things like that have now just become just abuse sessions, because I think you rarely get a Japanese person that's really going to scream and yell and throw a fit just because they think they deserve something, or they want some kind of special treatment or exception made for them. But everybody else outside of this country, that's how they live their lives completely, is I deserve this, and let me talk to your manager and all this nonsense. So, but I haven't worked retail in Japan, so I don't know exactly. But from just stories I've heard from just going to restaurants and things, and because for the most part, especially older people, can't tell the difference so easily. They don't see somebody. If they're Asian, they just assume they're Japanese, and they start speaking Japanese to them, and then find out, nope, there's going to be no communication. Yeah, it's funny. But that's definitely changed. I think the happiness of a lot of people that had some decent amount of pride, or at least had some, felt responsible or whatever to their job, and did it well. Now I think we're gonna start seeing those dead-eyed stares of North American retail start to occur, where it's just people don't even want to look at you, they don't want to interact with you at all, because they want to avoid having to do anything extra, because they know that's all you've got in mind is taking your personal problems out on a lowly retail clerk. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of detail in things, which is a little distracting, and that might be a little bit bigger. Yeah. All right. Now I'm just drawing trash, just in case you were wondering, just in case you're not looking at the trash that I'm drawing. But yeah, the one thing I noticed, and some people, that's a big part of drawing for them, and I think that's probably because that's where they got their first attention, like drawing in school art classes or in the classroom or whatever. They got a lot of attention for their drawing, and liked people watching them draw. It's a different kind of person. That's like more of an extrovert, like entertainer. They can't juggle or sing or dance, but they want to do something entertaining. And that was actually like a public, I should do something about that. I should find some kind of reference to that. But that was actually like a public kind of entertainment in Japan that was interesting, kind of a paper theater. You'd have a bicycle and just have a big wooden box in the back, and it was like it would just have like, basically just, sheets of cardboard with, colorful drawings on it, and someone would just tell a story, and maybe some of it would move, but most of it was just kind of like, flipping through pictures and telling a story to kids. So you'd have this old guy ride up on a bike and stop in an area of the parking, and kids would gather around and they would, flip through a story. And so, that drawing as entertainment is a thing, especially here. But so a lot of people, like when they first get their attention for being creative, or at least drawing, doing something on paper, they start to use that or become addicted to that kind of attention. So some people really like to draw for people, or really like to, so you get that like, caricaturists or whatever, that public drawing, so drawing for an audience kind of thing. And sometimes there is some like traditions of storytelling and things tied to that, but most of the time it's just like people wanting to show off their cartooning or drawing skills. And I've never been like that. I've always that pressure always just crushes my ability to do anything. I just remember some Comic-Cons and things where people would ask. I mean, I literally have to practice a drawing, like you practice a signature. I literally have to practice a little drawing if somebody wants a drawing in a book, because drawing in front of people always, I just tighten up and everything looks horrible. It's very brutal looking. And I've heard a lot of artists say that, oh, I'm so sorry, that looks so terrible. Let me draw you another one sometime, or I'll draw you one and send it to you. It's like they choke, easily with that public pressure of drawing. But some people thrive off of that. And so I think that's, we're in an era, especially with, live streaming and social media and everything, where performance is a big part of it. So I think people that enjoy the performance and look at me part of it are doing much better. And I just it really takes me a big push to click that start streaming start streaming button, because it's just like I don't want to watch anybody. I don't want anybody to watch me doing this. It's a very sometimes just nothing happens, nothing comes out. And I'm not sure if drawing this way is helping, or just just forcing me to kind of just deal with that feeling and push past it, which in some ways is always good. Stuff that makes you, forces you to write, forces you to practice whatever you do, is a good thing, because that's one of the biggest hurdles is just that push, just like anything else, just like, going to the gym or whatever. It's getting past that point where you can just kind of automatically fall into a routine. And but I still, just starting the live stream, like, oh, there's people watching me do this. I don't want to do this. It's a weird thing, because, of course, the, cartooning or doing any kind of visual art, there's communication there. You're obviously you're trying to communicate with people, you're trying to connect with people, you're trying to entertain people, but at the same time, there's definitely different kinds of it. And I think there are people that really love the spectacle of drawing, and really love people to watch them draw. And sometimes I'll see at some of the art shows and things around here, people set up projectors and just draw onto a tablet or whatever, projecting it onto their booth, and just want to gather a crowd and watch me draw. And I don't know. For me, there's something weird about it for me that maybe it's just the being. It's a more introverted kind of activity, and it's hard to understand what is going on. It's hard to understand people wanting to show off, it's strange. And we're also now in that age where, I'm sure you can find tutorials of basically doing anything. Everyone wants to show you how to do stuff. And so a lot of people, and I guess, you know, if it's some basic things, I've never done that, but I tried to, like, as I'm drawing, kind of tell people, oh, do this, look out for this. This is a good way to set this up or whatever. But as far as like doing lessons or something that's very teachery online, that still feels kind of odd to me. Because you're going to spread, you know, a one way of doing things. That's a little odd, because people don't see, I mean, I guess clever people would see that there's many, many, many ways to approach things. But some people, you know, like, oh, this person seems to be speaking with authority. This must be the way to draw. And yeah, I think that's not very helpful for you, you know, creatively. To feel like you know, have to come up with that one way, and that's it. And you gotta rewatch that guy's video that showed you how to do that. All right. A little bit of that. Yeah, I'm doing too many details on things. It's supposed to be a sugar packet, not a condom wrapper. I'm gonna have to do something to make that more clear, maybe, or not. I don't know. I don't know if it really matters. All right. Let's try another layer here. Yeah, I should just do, sometimes I feel like I should just do some studies of things, because I draw them often and they're never very good. But things like, you know, crumpled up paper, I just come up with like a few simple ways to try to make it, you know, convincing, and I don't think it's ever very convincing. It could be anything. Could be a moon rock. It could be anything. Yeah. But yeah, if it comes across, then that's good. All right. Any more trash? Yeah, there's not really anything bringing this together, though. Oh, sorry. Wow. Oof. All right. Well, let's keep at this here. Oh, God. All right. Well, oh yeah, and it's a nice sunny day, so I thought I'd give you some natural light behind me. You can enjoy all that wonderful noise. Oh, can you hear that? A very spirited conversation going on outside the window. Yeah, I think the students in this area have discovered that unpopular ramen shop nearby, because now I see just a bunch of school bags and people just crashing in the windows. Like, they're just filling up those tables and crashing in there. So I think that started to become a student hangout, because it's definitely someplace nobody wants to eat. Ooh, sorry. Gosh. Keep awake. I will keep awake. All right. Yeah, I guess if I'm going to set him against the rest of the world here, this might work. I think these are on the wrong layer. Yikes, where did those come from? Okay. Yeah, so when I did those lines, I wasn't in the right layer, as usual. I love when I color in the wrong layer. That's always the best. Okay. Yeah, but if I start to fill some of these. Nope. There we go. What is this? Huh. Okay. What is this? What's going on? All right. So, yeah, I love when you select two layers and said you can't draw in two layers. I wasn't trying to. Okay. All right. Now, so now I can like put stuff behind other things, and actually maybe make this a bit bigger, depending on what this is. But yeah, I think I'll pick a kind of main character. What is going on here? Main character for this, and I think it's going to be the bottle cap. So where is he? Here. So everybody else. Everybody else. Come on. Everybody else is not. It will move them away. Sometimes Photoshop just doesn't seem to be able to get out of the way of itself. So they have a great new function where you can select, you know, some data or pixels on a layer, and then you've automatically selected that layer instead of sitting there with shortcuts and going up and down layers. But yeah, sometimes that doesn't do you much good at all because it's hard to maintain what you've selected. There's no indication of what you selected except on the layer menu, and yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, like everything else. Okay. Back here. Huh. I guess I've got a weird layer somewhere. Yeah, things are spaced kind of strangely as well. Ooh. So I thought I filled this, but I guess I didn't. All right. Yeah, there's definitely an odd quality to the drawings this week. So thank you, reset of my pressure sensitivity. Sorry, I guess I could have spent some more time fussing with that to get it back, but yeah, maybe just set that back like that to give it a little more scale. All right, and now there's garbage. Okay, so let's color the garbage and see what that looks like. Okay, so everything should contrast a little bit from the background. Oh. Yeah, that's another strange thing. There are things that exist, you know, just like I was saying, businesses that came to die in Japan that, you know, were licensed or are developed in the Japanese version is developed of it. The Japanese, there we go. Good enough. Branch, and then the original disappears and only the Japanese one survives. It's a very odd thing. We have things like that. Certain products I think are become popular in Japan that don't do well other places, and so you also have strange, you know, soft drinks and things that will be here, but they're a lot of the companies are very intolerant of you know, not having huge success, so things will disappear pretty quickly. You'll see something that surprises you. Wow, I can't believe they've got that here, and then it's just gone. But that does happen. Do that. The matchsticks. Jeez, matchsticks that color too. No, just, well, it's usually always all the cardboard is the same. I like that warmer gray better, and maybe green instead of that orange, because the match heads are gonna be nice and red for me. All right. Okay, so let's do some Match heads. Hello. Okay, there we go. There, that stands out a bit, and maybe I should do a layer of some, you know, printing or something. Yeah, wow, the pen is not. It's very strange. Okay, well, before now and next week, hopefully I'll get a chance to play with this and figure out what has gone so strangely wrong. Love the update surprises. Actually, that could be a more pink. All right, and then I'll kind of change the opacity on those. All right, there we go. Oh, should I do some printing on the, like it's a flyer or a newspaper or something? Let's see. Let's see. Let's give that its own layer, though, just in case I fail miserably. Yeah. We'll see if I can pull that off. Huh. Okay. Well, it looks terrible now, but but if I do a little bit of yeah, fade that out, and then when I put shadows over that, it may be more interesting. It may be. No guarantees. Okay. So let's just get all of this. All right. So just a little bit of depth. I think, yeah, maybe just shading this whole side, and then I'll lighten it up a little bit. Might give me some nicer look. Just want to give everything some depth and kind of put it in space where it's supposed to be. Sorry, I have not been checking chats, so I'll just take a quick peek and make sure I'm not missing out. I did have it set up so that it popped up on screen, but I think my I think I've had some problems with my Streamlabs account that I need to reset up again. Yeah, I'm such a master of maintaining my accounts and connections with this. It's like, it's funny, the whole, you know, reason people do this is to kind of get things connected and have things, you know, have tip jars and things working, and I have none of that. None of that functioning well. All right, I think something like that works. And put this here. Actually, yeah, with that whole thing in the bottom of this. Okay, and now maybe some white. Yeah, I think I need to actually do white on top of that. Wow, that's white, huh? Yeah. Yeah, not enough. I'm not trying to make it look shiny, but I just want to have a variety of tones there. Yeah, those don't need to be shiny, but this probably does. Okay. And now just kind of put them on the ground somewhere with some shadow underneath. So you can see that's supposed to be like a sweet and low, or a something not a condom wrapper. So hopefully the coloration makes it look like that, or it makes it look however you want it to look. All right. Okay. Yeah. There we've got lots of trash. Well, so I'm just thinking about all discarded trash today, basically. Yeah, it's definitely a... Come on. It's definitely a pressure thing, because everything else seems to be working out okay. All right. There it is. There's some trash. Oh, actually, I do not like the angle of this. Oh, let's try this again. Gotta get it, yeah, to conform. It's doing something strange, conforming to the side here. Yeah, oh, that's right. I don't have the pressure that I should have, so. Okay, there we go. All right, so save that trash story and, oh, go back to the keys. I almost forgot. Some bright, bright yellow, but I think I'm gonna have to make it dingy. Actually, I could just do that here instead of having to make a layer. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get fancy with the metal color. Just make it a warm gray. Oh, that's right. That's all I'm dealing with is metal. Yeah, so I have to come up with something that's copper-esque. Not copper, but yeah, like a tinted metal, like a fakey, brassy gold color. Ugh. Let's see. So maybe for that, and then a dirty gray. Not quite that dark. Yeah, so I'm doing just like real subtle tonal differences to get a variation. That's too green. There we go. Give a bit of a variation, and then just maybe like a lighter gray, and then I can catch up with some. There we go. Some other toning and things. Okay, that should work. And I'll do a layer of then more saturated, kind of brighter colors for just a highlight, just so it feels more metallic. Oh, I didn't mask things. There we go. Yeah, because everything gets dirty at different rates in different places, so. Just try to recreate a little bit of that, and then I'll go back in with some shading, the shadow, and then reinforce that kind of where it is. Oh, here. What's going on? Hello. Try that again. There we go. Strange. Yeah, everything's behaving a little odd today. Thank you, Windows Update. And thank you for forcing that on me, because you know I'm not clever enough to figure out how to handle that myself. I need you to force an update. And always their excuse is, what, security? Oh, I'll do something like this too. Okay, that's got to be on another layer. And then fade that out a little bit. Looks like it's behind the plastic. There we go. Okay, now something I want to do is kind of do a cruddy faded print effect when you know, printing the cheap paint on something starts to maybe not the edge, starts to come off. I think I'll just do that with a blur and then layer it a little bit. Let's see how that works. Whoa, slowly, slowly. So something like that, and then I can have a couple of layers. Come on. Couple of layers I can play with. Not that much. Oh yeah, but yeah, some dirtiness like that. Yeah, and actually, I probably should do a the pen is just not doing anything now. Great. There we go. Okay, and maybe one of these will give an additional, like, yeah, directional blur here. Not quite that much. Yeah, there we go. Like the paint's worn off and kind of a predictable smudginess. Okay, so keeping that color layer kind of selection mask, let's go put some shadows on the keys, put them behind one another, behind the key ring here. Actually, yeah, here. Okay. This gives us a chance to do a little bit more texture. All right. Yeah, I I guess that's kind of getting to where I want it. Just want to make sure that those keys look like they're behind one another. Yeah, against the gray it doesn't look that much. So is this an overhead? I don't think so. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe that looks interesting. Wow, the sensitivity is just garbage today. Sorry about that. It's making this look very strange. Got a whole new drawing style for you. Actually, I think I want it here. Yeah. Okay. I don't think that's coming across all that well, but let's see. Yeah, something like that. And maybe a light on the keyring as well. Maybe a light here. Just kind of help the ugly scuffing look. And then I think I want to put just a bright. Yeah. Ugh. No. Wow, that's so crazy. Yeah, there we go. Still shiny. The keys aren't going to be shiny though. Maybe here too. Yeah. All right. That looks more like a painting than a cartoon. Yeah, sorry. The style is very different this week. More gritty. Oh, come on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Shit, I had a shortcut. What's going on? Come on. History. Oh, sorry. I'm just, yeah. Why is there a new layer? No new layer. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to put eyes on here, and I hit a action shortcut that knocks everything all out of whack. All right. This might work. Yeah, so something's seriously off here. Yeah, I've got everything's fighting for control here. An entire keyring of unneeded keys. All right. Oh. Okay. So we've got trash and more trash. What a week. All right. So, let's move over to the convenience store section and yeah, come back and write these later. So hope everything is set up and working. I didn't actually double check that this time, but we should be fine. Okay, so I will be with you shortly. All right. I've got to get this up higher so I can see it. Yeah, this mixer menu is terrible. It doesn't let you, of course you can't see everything. and then it doesn't let you adjust the position. All right, anyhow, enough talk about stupid technical things. Okay, today I want to tell you about this company, YBC. And if that oval is looking familiar, there's a good reason. So YBC is the Yamazaki Biscuits, plural, company, because they don't know when to use plural and when to not. So starting in, I think, 1970, Yamazaki Biscuits Company, which it wasn't called at that time, was just, I think, Nabisco Yamazaki or something. And it was the Japanese version, or the Japanese distributor of Nabisco. They basically, in Japan, domestically made, Oreos and Ritz crackers and, a lot of everything that Nabisco made that was popular in Japan, they made here. And in 1988, they officially were financially separated from North American Nabisco, and I think Nabisco is now part of some even more giant food company. But they became separate from that, and then just last year, I think starting in August, they lost the license to actually use the name Nabisco and produce Nabisco goods. So now I think someplace in Southeast Asia, Vietnam or somewhere, is baking for Nabisco in Asia. So they just found a cheaper person to do that. So YBC, Yamazaki Biscuits, lost that license, and now they're just on their own. So suddenly, at the end of last year, we saw the appearance of all of these look-alike. I guess they didn't have any of them at the convenience store, but we saw the appearance of all of these look-alike crackers. Their square Ritz cracker and their slightly different design noir cracker or cookie, which was Oreo. So a square kind of Ritz looking, buttery Ritz cracker, and then a noir Oreo cookie, which is like the black, chocolate looking Oreo. And so they did, several things that they were already making for Nabisco. They just made their own lookalike kind of recipes. So they could kind of be switched. And I think people, especially Japanese people that are sensitive to things that are produced in Japan, now with this encroachment of all this Chinese produce and stuff, people are a lot more careful about that. So it gave them the ability to still buy domestically made products, and they were pretty taste and look pretty similar. And in fact, I actually like the Japanese version of Ritz a little bit better. The flavor is a little more subtle, and yeah, it's made a little bit nicer. So they're and I'm not sure, I don't think this is Nabisco. I think it's a different company, but this is something that they also made a kind of lookalike copycat kind of thing. So their version of Pringles is Chipstar, and I think I've pulled out Chipstar before, but basically Chipstar only had and it's that mashed potato flake kind of potato chip. It's not a real potato chip. It's not a slice of potato that's been fried. It's some kind of puree of potato that's been dehydrated. So like a Pringles, think Pringles. And so this is their version of a Pringles, Chipstar. And they're pretty good. They're very light, but they're exactly just Pringles. And now they've started to do flavors like Pringles. I think previously they only had the consommé flavor. And so this is their first attempt. They're doing a steak flavor, as you can see the little picture of the steak there. So doing like a grilled steak flavor. So I thought I would really like to see how well they do, because Pringles is in Japan, and they have a crazy amount of flavors and very Japanese specific kind of flavors, like fried chicken and barbecue and Korean spicy flavors and stuff. So I'm curious, because those things are just chemically, the Pringles are just chemically created to just make you so sad once that flavor of that powder is gone that you pick up another one and another one and another one. They have that weird addictive kind of taste to them. So I'm curious how well they imitate this steak flavor and how actually good it is. It's probably a lot less salty. It's very steak-like. Wow. There's like liquid smoke or something in there that kind of hits you at the end. So it tastes like steak. Yeah, it's very mild. It's much more subtle though. It's very mild compared to the real heavy, real super salty Pringles flavor. So Chipstar is now trying more interesting exotic flavors, and obviously to compete with Pringles. But this thing I thought was very funny. They did a chocolate noir potato chip. So basically one side of this potato chip is got Oreos all over it. So it's an Oreo. So using their version of Oreo, so their noir Oreo style cookie on their Pringles style potato chip. So there's a lot of, especially from Hokkaido, there's a lot of chocolate covered potato snacks. Sorry about that noise, in Japan. And this is kind of one of their more, it's not in the tube, so it's a little bit more deluxe and so a little bit more expensive, but a little bit more of their deluxe snack. So I wanted to get one of these on the stream because I thought they would probably look ridiculous, which they do. So this is a Pringles. See, there's a little Pringles hiding underneath, and it's dipped in chocolate and covered with Oreo cookie. Woof. So this is kind of combining a couple of their strengths together. I don't know, after that steak flavored potato chip, we'll have to see how this goes. So this is it's pretty heavy too. This is quite a massive potato. And I guess that's why they did the different container, because if you stacked all these on top of each other, I'm sure they would just crush, they would be crushed out in the bottom very easily. So let's try this. It's that same potato. The saltiness of the potato matches the chocolate. So yeah, it's really good. Yeah, surprisingly good. Yeah, their noir cookie is Oreo. It's a really nice, like maybe less artificially tasting Oreo. So it's pretty rich flavor. For a cheap snack. So yeah, it's nice. Surprisingly nice. When I saw this box, I had to bring this in because this looks ridiculous. I mean, it looks like a moon rock or something. It looks like something from on the edge of a volcano. A big, crusty looking potato chip. But yeah, it tastes surprisingly good. That's really good. And perfect with coffee. But so I guess this company's getting forced to be more creative and develop more product lines, because I can't lean on Nabisco, the brand recognition and the styles of Nabisco products, and maybe even like kind of limited. Maybe with their license they were limited to what they could produce. They can't do chocolate covered Ritz or anything because of the license. So so it's nice to see that they're kind of being a little aggressive and experimenting with things to keep them noticed and on the shelves. And maybe they don't have anything to really worry about if they have not domestically made, if now people are going to be aware that Nabisco is a foreign product and it's not produced here, then maybe the competition isn't going to be that fierce. Anyhow, because I noticed a lot of the smaller grocery stores especially just got rid of the Nabisco products and now just have only the YBC. But the other funny thing is they've been a sponsor of, I think it's Japanese soccer, so the Japanese national soccer team forever. I think it's like in the Guinness Book of World Records. But when they changed their name, they had to kind of change the name of that sponsorship. So that brought an end to the longest running, sporting club sponsorship ever, just because Nabisco took away that license. But so that is YBC, the Yamazaki Biscuits company. And now they're all on their own. They're all their own thing. So we'll see how they do. But, they're a domestic Japanese company, so I don't think they're going anywhere. And it's nice to see that they're experimenting and doing things like steak and chocolate-covered potato chips because, we all need more of that. So, so it's just funny. It's funny to watch things readjust, and a lot of times, like I was saying, brands will come here like Tower Records or the Lawson convenience store, I believe doesn't exist in the US anymore, or what was the other one? Mr. Donut. Mr. Donut. And those don't exist in their original form in the US anymore, and they came here and they're just Japanese owned and Japanese run, and now they just exist as this weird kind of corporate museum. So I thought something like it could happen that something like Ritz crackers or some brand stayed popular in Japan but disappeared in the US, but because of this licensing problem, they're kind of restructuring that. That will never happen. So that is the former Nabisco, because they were originally just Nabisco in Japan. So no more. There is no more Japanese Nabisco, and it is back to the original Yamazaki biscuits. I love that. So that's a funny Japanese thing, is they don't have plural. There is no plural. You just say to fish, to cat, to whatever. And so they, well, you know, if you directly translate, they don't have a plural form of a word. So everything is uncountable, basically. So that's a big hurdle. It's almost like as hard as the gender of a noun for, you know, English speakers to speak French or Spanish or Italian. In Japan, having to pluralize something and then and understand if something is plural or is not, or when you would use that. So a biscuit company would be a company that makes biscuits. A biscuits company, I don't know what that is, but that's a unique thing because of Japanese language, that they kind of randomly pluralize or don't pluralize things that should be. So you'll see a lot of those kind of random mistakes, and of course then they make it into official things like company names, because they make more than one kind of biscuits, so they have to pluralize it. Anyhow, yeah, so that is YBC, and they recently, so after the split, I think they had, you know, they had their little initials somewhere on it, but I think they were marking things as Nabisco back in the day when they had that license. But they put a little oval around their initials now to Nabisco-fi. I think Nabisco's an oval too, isn't it? At least it's red and white, I think. But to kind of Nabisco-fi their logo, to give a little bit more familiarity, say, hey guys, remember we were the bakers behind Nabisco, anyhow. But yeah, so I thought that was very funny, and it's interesting to see them get more aggressive and try to compete with the multiple strange flavors of Pringles, and take their Oreo cookies and put them on their potato chips. So enough of that. So I hope that was an exciting, interesting story. Back to the writing portion. All right, now we're back. So forgive me, because I think I'm going to have one more of these chocolate covered chips before we finish. Wow. And I think Noir is a much more dramatic name for a chocolate cookie than Oreo. So how exciting. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Wow. I'm so sorry. Off stream, I will eat another one of those, not on stream. But yeah, definitely worth, I mean, you always have interesting surprises when you buy random new goods in Japanese convenience stores. That interesting thing is that things don't last very long. Sometimes they'll mark, you know, limited version or limited edition or whatever on something because they plan not to make it. It's not a permanent part of their product line, but because Japanese like seasonal things, and because companies are always experimenting with different types of things, things come and go very quickly. So get it when you see it, because it's not going to be around for long, you know, usually that's a very safe rule of thumb. All right. Let's see. A lost ring of keys. They're not lost. No, it's not lost. Sorry, I was. Yeah, so due to, I guess, yeah, circumstances beyond their control. Circumstances beyond their control. Had rendered. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. I want to say something about wants the most the once treasured, once needed, once... Huh. Various circumstances rendered the key ring unneeded. Ugh, unneeded. Had rendered the key ring useless. Suddenly useless. Yeah, I'm not getting across the sadness of unneeded keys. Let's see here. Sorry. All right, there we go. Okay. Not getting the key thing across here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want to just come out and say nothing was more sad, but I want to get that across because that was the thing that kind of put it in my head is let me think. Yeah, I almost want to smudge these keys up a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. I don't think. So I wanted to get the point across that they were old. Wait, I know. Let's do this. Okay. Whoa. What is going on? Okay, wrong there. Okay, the contiguous is off. Okay, I'll put that above them. We'll do that. There we go. Dirty keys. Is that going to do what I want? Maybe not. Well, let's see. And I can reselect and then just mask that whole thing so it's not glowing keys. And then put them... I do have to put them above that. Yeah, that's much dirtier. Let's see. Ooh. The color burn looks fun. Maybe multiply. I can bring it up a little bit. No, I don't think I want to. Let's see. Yeah, actually, I think I will keep that. Just dirty them up a little bit. Although, maybe I should do a little bit, yeah, of this to kind of. There's still some life in them yet. Yeah, kind of get a little contrast. Oops, going. Yeah. Okay. I think that'll work. Okay, now they're credier keys. Okay. So they were not lost, just totally okay. What's going on here? They were not lost, just totally useless. Yeah, it's not getting across the sadness that they were not lost, just totally useless. Not getting across the sad part of that. Huh. Okay, so something like the hardest thing for a key, not key ring, ring of keys. Keys to accept is no longer being. The hardest thing for keys to accept was. The hardest thing for keys to accept was no longer being needed. Oh, I think it did have a hotel key joke. I'm trying to think of all the keys that I've drawn before. Okay, so the hardest thing for keys to accept was no longer being needed. Unusable, abandoned. Yeah, it's funny because yeah, maybe not remembering what they opened. Yeah, I like that, not knowing what they opened. Keys outlived their usefulness. Had forgotten what they opened. I don't want to say, I want to spoon feed this so that there was nothing sadder than, but had forgotten what they used to open, stayed together out of habit. Okay, so I was trying to, connect this to, make this resonate or have some connection to, like a human process, a human relationship, and that's where the sadness usually comes from. They'd forgotten what they used to open and stayed together out of old habits. They had all forgotten what they used to open and stayed together only out of habit. I don't think I need old. They had all forgotten what they used to open and stayed together only out of habit. Okay, there's super sad. Oh, God. Ugh. Yeah, so and that's the thing that I'm always trying to do. Give me some thickness, you stupid thing. Yeah, that's what I'm always trying to do. I mean, that's the kind of joke of the whole thing, is that inanimate objects with the little eyes on them are analogs or stand-ins for, human failings and relationships and things. So if the joke doesn't get back to that, it doesn't, make any sense. And this isn't even a joke. This is just sad. They had all forgotten what they used to open and stayed together only out of habit. They had all forgotten what they used to open. All right. Well, let's see if we can even go more depressing. Oh, God. History. Okay. Oh, this is so annoying. There we go. How easy it was to become trash. The plastic cap didn't realize. What is going on? There we go. Didn't realize just how easy it was to become trash. Wow, it just barely fits. Okay, so the plastic cap, do I want to keep it like that or 2 lines? Maybe 2 lines. The plastic cap didn't realize just how easy it was to become trash. All right. The plastic cap didn't realize just how easy it was to become trash. Okay. I think that's where that is. So you're just a few steps away from uselessness, I guess is where that's going. So the plastic cap didn't realize just how easy it was to become trash. Okay, so I guess that's what we're doing this week. So trash and more trash. So the plastic cap didn't realize just how easy it was to become trash, and they had forgotten what they used to open and stayed together only out of habit because they are keys. Okay, so that are the cartoons. Those are the cartoons for this week. So thank you so much for watching, and come back next week, and there will be more sad and lonely, depressing cartoons for you to watch being created. And if you'd like to follow this cartoon, please follow us at Abuse Cartoons on Twitter, and then abusecartoons.com is the website for everything. If you want to actually subscribe to this and many, many, many thousands of other comics online, go comics.com. And it's comics.com/domestic abuse is the home of this cartoon there, and you can subscribe to have it sent into your inbox along with many, many, many other amazing, funny cartoons to keep you amused on a daily basis. And yes, so there's a Facebook page, and if you would like to support this cartoon, and which I would like to say thank you so much for the patrons that are currently supporting me. I appreciate it more than you can know, and I really value that support. And if you would like to become a supporter, please visit patreon.com/abusecartoons. There are a few levels just with a small contribution, and up to levels that include physical rewards like books and original art and things like that. So please have a look at that if you are interested. And thank you once again for watching. I will see you next week. Goodbye.